Everyone, we do have Shannon with us, and we're ready to go. I guess we should let her catch her breath.
Hi everyone. I'm sorry. I had a meeting that just ended on the other side of the world, so catching my breath. Thank you everybody for joining us today. I know it's the middle of summer and you all have many things to do, so we're really glad that you were able to join us. Either in person or on the web. We wanted to do a few things. Marion, have you gone over the agenda, or did you want me to do that?
The only thing I talked about was that while we were waiting, they could be thinking about what they felt what should be our priorities for 17-18.
Thank you.
And just that I didn't really talk about the rest of the agenda except just to put it up there.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Great. So start out with a couple of updates, things that have happened since the last time we were together. And then we'd like to tell the whole group a little bit about the last meeting we had. We have a subgroup that is working on instructional technology plan guidance. So we want to share out a little bit from that meeting. It was a fabulous meeting. And then the next thing on the agenda, that's okay. The next thing is talking about tech literacy and where we are with that. As Marianne mentioned, want to talk a little bit about our priorities for going into the 2017-2018 school year. We're really interested in hearing from all of you about what your thoughts are on what here at SED we need to be aware of, what are the major concerns, priorities, things you're excited about moving forward, and if you think or what you think the ETAC can play a role in. So that would be something we'd be really interested in having a whole group discussion on. And then finally, we have meeting dates for our upcoming years. We wanted to share those out and then kind of talk next steps. Any thoughts before we kind of jump into updates?
Sounds great.
Okay, thanks so much. So we will talk just a few things here to get everybody up to speed on. Okay, let's start with ESSA. So at Monday's Board of Regents meeting, we presented the updated draft ESSA plan to the Board of Regents. And from here, it will be with the governor for 30 days. After the period of time with the governor, it will come back to the Board of Regents, and the plan is to meet the September 18th submission date to go to the federal government. Once it is with the federal government, I believe it is 120 days with the feds. We do not know what the time frame, if there is specific. We have heard that some of the states that met the April timeline have had their plans rejected, so we don't quite know what to anticipate after this, but this is our hope, is that it will be approved by the feds after being submitted September 18th. There were some significant changes made to the plan overall, and I would encourage all of you to take a look if you are interested. There is a document, and Marianne will send this out, but the changes made to the ESSA plan, there is a 12-page document that outlines the significant changes and the reasons behind those changes, and then a new draft plan summary and a new draft ESSA plan have been made public and presented to the board. One of the areas where there was a change, and hopefully this will meet with approval with this group, is that there was additional information put into Title IV Part A related to work around educational technology. And this was in response to comments and suggestions by stakeholders, and this was something that we were hoping to be able to see, and we are happy that there was more emphasis placed on personalized learning and educational technology put into the plan. So this is one little snippet that is new right now that is in the draft plan summary. How will New York State support increased access to high-quality personalized learning experiences supported by technology? And talking about how the department will continue to support new and existing programs that focus on the utilization of technology to enhance teaching and learning. And we go into a few things. And this is backed up by not only our Youth Need Technology Plan and the expectation of the Board of Regents, but also the need to support efforts related to educational technology. We know that hardware and infrastructure are funded and can be funded through the Smart Schools Bond Act, but the professional development is not bondable. And so that is one area where we would like to see improved efforts, as well as innovations through online blended and distance learning. So there is increased information in, oh goodness.
I've got everyone muted, just so you know, because of the background noise.
Oh, okay.
So if you need to speak, yeah, we're all muted. They're all muted.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we have, sorry guys, I lost my train of thought. That's okay. That's all right.
I was hoping it had quieted down, but it didn't.
No, it's fine. It's fine. And so there's increased language. So take a look. It is still considered draft until it is sent, but hopefully it will meet with approval from this group, because the original plan, while it had fabulous support for our school libraries, which it is continues in this new draft, there was not as much support for educational technology initiatives. So this new plan does have increased language in there for that. Questions on ESSA?
When they talk about personalized learning, already, what's the...
So they have a pretty broad definition of personalized learning, and the reason why our plan mirrors that language is that that's the actual ESSA category. How will you personalize learning through the use of technology? So we are responding by saying we will personalize learning, but they have been fairly liberal in their definition of personalized learning. So
it's a wide open kind of area.
It's a wide open, and as is the theme throughout the ESSA plan, the focus on cultural and linguistic responsiveness can also benefit from a personalized learning environment through the use of technology. And there are ways that initiatives that are currently going on in New York can fall under that umbrella, even if it's not a true, as we may understand, a true personalized learning. But that's, I'm glad you brought that up, because definitions are extremely important, and I think that may be an area where we could have conversations and try to have statewide understanding.
That may be a place to provide resources and things, or just explanations, blended versus split versus personal. It's all the, it really goes to the intent.
It does, absolutely.
And I will unmute everybody in case anyone else needs to make a comment or a question, but please keep in mind if you have background noise to mute. Anyone else?
Shannon, this is Nico. I just want to say thank you so much for your attention to that extra language that was added in. As you know, if it's not stated, we run the risk of losing that direct focus. So thank you very much.
I'm glad that we were able to get that in. Okay, let me see where we've got background noise.
Yeah, I'm going to have to mute everybody. Okay. So now we will go to the next slide.
Are we logged in two different places, Marianne? Are we called in and on the phone?
Yes, I mean, they can hear us through the computer and through the phone.
Okay, we should choose one.
Then I'll have to get rid of the computer because we don't want to cut everybody off.
Yeah, let's let's turn down our microphone so we can just use the phone.
Okay.
And hopefully that'll take care of some of the feedback. Sorry, everybody, we were hearing a loop. Can somebody just say that they can hear us still?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay, great. Hopefully that took care of the voice loop. So, no, Amy, I'm glad that we were able to get that in, and I know you've been doing a lot of advocacy at the federal level, and that's appreciated, I'm sure, by all of us, that we have that advocacy as well, because as we, I think, discussed at the last meeting, there are some concerns that funding for Title IV-A will be minimal if it's even funded at all. So we're still waiting to see what will come out of that. Anything else on ESSA?
Unmute. Okay.
Okay. Let's move on. I just wanted to, what happened to this slide?
I don't know, but
okay.
That's the slide you want.
All right, technical glitch there. Very good news for a lot of our districts across the state. The review board for the Smart School Investment Plans met on Friday. So we now are excited to say that 100 plans have been approved for school connectivity, and 270 plans, I can't see this far, everybody, 196 plans have been approved for school connectivity. That's about 100 million, and 270 plans at about 125 million have been approved for smart schools. So this is a movement in the right direction. We still have a lot of plans that are outstanding somewhere in the queue process, but we at least have some approval. So that was good news. Fingers crossed it doesn't take another 6 months for the next review board to happen. And then just final, Marianne, I bet if you just press the arrow, there you go. Just a couple of other things just for the good of the order here. We've had a lot of people inquire as to whether we can post the names of this group either on our SED website or if any of you could announce the names. We're still finalizing a couple of people because we announced so late, frankly, and some of our members are teachers or only work 10 or 11 months. We don't have everything finalized. So we're going to ask that everybody hold off until September, and we'll have our official kickoff meeting, and then we'll be able to share names. Not that there is any concern, but we just want to make sure that everything is finalized before we announce the names. And then we want to tell you that we are still working on a collaboration platform. We are thinking we have a solution, but we just have to make sure that it's the right solution for all of us to use. And I know that some people have suggested using other systems. Here at SCD, unfortunately, we are not allowed to use a slew of products that the rest of the world can use. So we cannot do anything by Google Docs, for instance, and we are not able to communicate by social media. So we are going to really need to solution out a platform that will work, that will be approved by internal privacy officials. So let us continue to work on that. We promise we are trying to figure out a good solution for everybody and look for emails about some kind of collaboration platform.
Could you provide us, when that does come forth, if there's any rules we should follow as members, tweeting out, things like that?
Absolutely.
We'd love to share things, but still controlled, and highlight all the great work that's going on with.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. So yes, nothing that will be shared with this group will be things, frankly, that we are not allowed to share with you. We have a pretty strong requirement to vet everything before sharing with the public, as you can imagine, but there is nuance to sometimes we may say, for instance, the PowerPoint that we shared with the data last time we shared with you, that really, it hasn't been shared with the Board of Regents yet. There is a plan to share with them, so, and everything is public information, but some of the information we may say, you know, if we could keep this under ETAC until we can release to the public. So if there is anything like that, we will be sure to communicate into message to all of you. This is, you know, as an advisory committee, we will be coming to you with some things that we are looking for your feedback, so things will be in draft or things will not have decisions on them yet. So some of the things, but we'll be clear about what we need to kind of keep as a group and what can be shared freely with districts.
Yeah, when I send out the recordings, I just have asked people to just keep the recordings to them, you know, sell for their own use.
Right, right.
The recordings of the meeting. Okay, do we have any other questions or comments on updates? I'll unmute everybody temporarily before we move on. Any questions on the updates Jen provided?
I have just one question.
Sure.
About information that you shared about the SMART schools. And maybe just a comment. I know that I heard several districts that they were not in this lot of approval, and wondering because public when the SMART school meetings occur, because many districts have implemented any of these items in the school year. There's a concern there still about the timeliness in which the meetings are occurring for districts to be able to continue with their plans.
And we've been hearing that a lot, unfortunately, and I know it's no consolation to any district to hear that we don't have timelines, and frankly, I really wish that we could provide timelines. Because the review board is not only one agency, because it is a combination of SED, SUNY, and the Department of Budget, that it has, you know, there are not just the number of channels that plans go through at SED, but then there are other entities that are involved, and that has frankly held up the process. We know that districts are trying to leverage Smart Schools money in conjunction with other funding streams such as E-rate, and this process has not flowed as smoothly as anyone would have hoped. And I can tell you that from SED's side, we have been working diligently to make sure that we get things moved through as quickly as possible. One of the things that we have always just been telling districts is when districts are sending in their Smart Schools investment plans, that they make sure that all of the every item that they're putting in there for reimbursement is actually bondable. Things like software and professional development are not allowable under Smart Schools Bond Act legislation because frankly they're not things. They can't be bonded. They need physical things. So that's why hardware and wiring infrastructure are allowable, but professional development is not and software is not. So just making sure that the budget is completely allowable would be a great thing. And as far as a schedule of when the review board is meeting, we don't usually find out until hours before. So I wish I had better news.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put everybody back on mute then. And we'll go to the next slide.
Well, the next slide is an update for district technology plans. So we were hoping to have somebody from that committee update the rest of the committee. I can tell everybody we had...
Sarah's here. She's just on the phone.
Oh, Sarah is here.
Sarah Martabano. is on the line, I believe. Sarah, are you there? Sarah? Sarah, are you there? I guess not.
So at the subcommittee meeting, we met, there were about, we're going to have to,
Yeah.
we had about 10, 12 people in the committee,
Yeah.
a large group here at NICED and then some on the phone. The group elected Sarah Martabano and Maria Rocker as kind of co-chairs to lead the work, and we had a really fabulous conversation, and was hoping that either Sarah or Maria could update you, but if Sarah is not available, then...
Oh, she says she's here. Oh, Natalia is
Natalia is here.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
So, and I don't know if anybody else from the committee would want to
Say something.
to share out.
Yeah.
Natalia.
So Shannon,
Go ahead.
Shannon, I'm back on now. I'm on the phone. I don't know what that's all about.
Hi, Sarah.
Sorry, the whole time I did that, I didn't hear anything you said though.
Oh. We were just Shannon just talked briefly about what the committee, talked about during the first meeting. So whatever you'd like to add about your experience.
No, I think we did I think it was a really helpful meeting to, I think we really synthesized and targeted an objective. So I'm sure you articulated it well, but I think we've got a good start.
Anyone else that was there want to chime in?
Good conversations from, what's the kind of keeping tech survey versus what maybe fit into some other data pieces. So in the end, the tech survey truly is a document that's not just compliance for school districts, but it's really about moving the ball forward.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we talked about. This is Mary Ann, was about having more narrative in the tech plans, and then the specific data questions going into SERS or BEDS, and also focusing a lot on aligning instructional goals to the technology plan. Mm-hmm. The group felt that was, really important to have that alignment. So our goal is to have this ready to send out guidance in the middle of September. Mm-hmm. At this point. That's our very ambitious goal.
So we'll be meeting a couple more times in August to try to kind of identify what guidance will be the most useful and where certain questions will go. But the general feeling is that the current collection tool is working, reduce the number of questions that are on there, really focus in on questions that will identify how technology is being used to support teaching and learning and the overall goals of the district. And then some of the pieces that were collected that were maybe redundant in that they're being collected in other areas can be either eliminated or moved into different areas. So our conversations will continue on that.
Okay.
Questions about technology plans?
Anybody? Any questions?
Shannon, did you address the piece about moving? Did you address the piece about moving some of this data over to BEDS?
No, and when I introduced it, I didn't talk at length about anything, Sarah. So just to update the group, some of the feeling about the tech plans is that some of the quantitative data, the numbers of computers, for instance, or the broadband speed, it may be a better collection tool to actually move those questions into beds. And so this would allow us not only at SED to get a picture of, from a quantitative perspective at the school level, which is something we really don't have, but also will allow the actual tech plan to focus really on narrative and not so much filling in numbers, but really be a thoughtful strategic planning document. Did I say that okay, Sarah?
Yeah, that's the way I remember it. So that was a short-term goal. And then there was a longer-term goal around looking at how State Ed's Office of Educational Technology could serve as a community of practice for the state by highlighting best practices, resources, et cetera, as a good resource using the new website. So that was the longer-term goal as well.
We thought was a fabulous idea and kind of would address some of the requests that we've had from numerous stakeholder groups. It was even mentioned in our Online Learning Advisory Council recommendations that State Ed play a stronger role in connecting districts that are putting forward with initiatives, innovations, and connecting them with districts who may want to engage in those practices as well. So we thought that this idea of connecting it to the tech plans made a lot of sense, and we're really going to look at the possibility of doing this going forward.
All right, so we go on to the next slide. That one's yours.
Oh, technology literacy. So I know a number of you have said that you were interested in helping us to think through technology literacy. At the last meeting, if you were not with us, we talked a little bit about where we are with this. We released a survey. We got those survey results back, almost 3,400 responses, and generally what we have learned is that there is a desire for a common statewide understanding of what skills and knowledge students should have related to technology in New York State. So we have taken this data of what the need is and brought it to senior leadership. One of the reasons why this is such a timely thing is that we not only have changes in our ELA and math standards, but we also are looking at other things that are happening. For instance, our technology standards are from 1996. They are very old. They were part of the old MST standards. They're now just kind of out there, and we know that technology educators are interested in looking at a possible revision to that. That's something that they have brought to the Office of Curriculum and Instruction. Another front, I will say, that we are hearing from is computer science. And this is something that we know that several districts, including our colleagues at the New York City DOE, are investing in heavily is programs related to computer science. I know we have a number of colleagues in higher ed on our ETAC, and this is something that we know is of interest to our higher ed colleagues as well. So we, this obviously is being discussed with senior leadership, and because educational technology or technology literacy or digital literacy or however we want to define it may have some carryover into other areas, we need to progress with this thoughtfully and as a comprehensive project with other initiatives that may end up being underway as well. So I know we said that we were hopefully going to try to get started with this in August. It's looking now more towards September, and I'm going to ask everybody to kind of sigh and shake your heads and nod a little bit and understand that things just kind of move at a different pace here at SED, and we will bring everybody in as soon as we have clear direction, because the last thing that we would want to do is waste anybody's time and then learn that senior leadership is going in a different direction. So we are hopefully going to have more clarity on this as we move into the fall, and then as soon as we can get going with work on this, we will bring everybody together and start discussions. So we will have more information, hopefully, definitely for you in September.
And if you are interested in that subcommittee, send me an email.
Oh yeah,
we
send Marianne an email, let her know.
Already, but so if you already said you were, you're on the list. But if anyone else is interested, please let me know. And again, for subcommittees, this just may be extra meetings in addition to our monthly meetings here with ETAC and some work offline to help us think through some of these things. Right. But we'll have more information as we know what direction we're going to go in. Any questions on that? I'll unmute. Anyone have any questions on the tech literacy initiative?
I do have a question. Does anybody hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
It's Winnie. With the tech literacy, are we using ISTE as a guideline at all when we develop the tech literacy standards?
I think that is up in the air at this point, Winnie. We, those of us who...
I'm not answering my phone. I'm not. I got a million things to do. My phone is not hooked to my head.
We've got a lot of background noise, so we're gonna mute. But I think that's one of the things that we're looking for feedback from all of you as to whether you think that would be a good starting point. We are certainly open to any and all ideas. There are a number, states do things differently. We've been doing research into this, and some states just have adopted the ISTE standards and we're done with that. Some states have really, looked at more of a grade band or grade level, actually, specific standards. So we need more direction from senior leadership as to what they are expecting to come out of this project. We know that we are facing school districts that have had a number of new sets of standards in the recent years, and trying to balance that with the need to make sure that all students in New York are receiving a high-quality 21st century education, and that does include access to technology. So lots of open questions right now.
Thank you for that, Marianne.
That was Shannon.
We'll give that to you.
Oh.
I want to do that.
All right, so if you don't have any more questions on tech literacy, we are going to open up the floor to everyone for feedback. And if you could mute yourself, that would be helpful. That way the people who are in a quiet environment.
That's what you have to do. You don't know how to do that. So if you don't want to do that, I'm hanging up. I can go in and change the date if that's what you...
I guess we'll have to mute everyone. Let's see what we've got in the chat feature.
Hey, Marianne, this is Dale.
Hey, Dale.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
If you mute everybody, you can, I spend a lot of time in this environment, so like I was able to unmute myself. If folks kind of poke around, you can see where you can mute yourself.
Sure.
So,
I'll leave everybody muted.
And then we can just unmute ourselves if we have questions, or you can mute everybody and we can raise our hand and you can unmute individuals. I don't know if you are aware of where you can. I know how to do that, but with the video feed, that I can't see that. I can't see the participant list, unfortunately. Okay.
So,
all right. All right.
Yep. Everybody's agreed with you, so let's do that. If you have a question, please
just unmute ourselves. Perfect.
That would be great. Thank you. So for this, everybody, what we are looking for is some feedback from you. We are, again, so grateful that all of you wanted to work with us and help us think through some of these things. And I know that we have brought a lot to you, initiatives that are coming up, things that we need your help with, but we really want to make sure that the work that we are doing is aligned to what you need from us and what we can do to help facilitate this work in our schools. So we're hoping if you have any thoughts, concerns, ideas, areas of focus that you would like to see this group work on, we are open and want to hear those suggestions.
Who would like to start?
Well, I'll start, and I'll just say that I would caution this group on trying to bite off too much. I think establishing a baseline for technology literacy standards is a huge task in and of itself. So just throwing that out there for what it's worth. I don't want to try to boil the ocean here. So that's my 2 cents worth.
Thank you. That makes sense.
Absolutely.
Anyone else?
This is Winnie. Perhaps we can start identifying schools that have best practices, that we can start accumulating that information for the long-term goal as to what Sarah was addressing before. So if we can just, you know, put that somewhere, that would help the process.
That's good. Yep. Thank you.
Hi, all. This is Natalia.
Natalia?
Hi. I am happy to share the digital literacy scope and sequence that we use in our district. You know, it's out there. We can take a look, and if it's helpful, great. If it's not, then we move on.
That'd be great. Thanks. And that's your own digital literacy guidelines for Guilderland?
Yeah, and we base that on the ETAC standards, and we developed it in districts with our technology cabinet, and then it obviously went to the board, and you know, we had some other community stakeholders take a look at it too, and we borrowed some ideas from other districts that had very good guidelines as well. So we wanted to make something a little more concrete for our district, and we broke it down into a couple categories, and you know, K2, you know, primary, elementary, intermediate elementary, and the middle school and high school, and we also broke it down into different domains, and then skill sets for those domains, and then whether the student should be at an entry level, introduced, entry level, intermediate, or proficient.
And that, did you say that's up on your website, did you say?
I think it is. We're right now revamping our website because we have to make sure that it was compliant with assistive technologies. So I can share it. I can send the link to the whole team in an email.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else? Suggestions for priorities for the coming year that we could focus on? That you think is, that you're hearing out there?
This is Winnie again. I know that blended and online learning is prevalent in some areas and not in others, but there's also questions about implementation models and how schools can get started and implement it in their buildings. So perhaps, you know, sharing best practices or ideas about that might be, you know, a priority.
Winnie, would you mind telling everybody about the program that you run, just so they know your expertise in that area?
Sure. I oversee the NYC DOE iLearn program, which is part of the iZone, and currently we have about 300 schools on our online and blended learning program. What we did was create a platform with a single sign-on, and through that single sign-on, our students are able to access between 13 to 15 vendors on the other side. So we work closely with schools and closely with our vendor partners to make this happen. We also have implementation managers that work with their designated schools. Right now they're divided by, they're assigned by borough. So I can have one person taking care of all of Queens, another in Manhattan. And what they do is they sit with the leadership, decide on their target population, and then come up with an implementation plan for that school. So each school is unique with budget and target populations. So in a nutshell, that's what I do.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you so much. And along the lines of online and blended learning, so I'm going to throw something out there, and I would like to hear if I'm understanding correctly. When I talk to groups across the state, specifically about online blended and distance learning as well, because our colleagues who do distance learning always make sure that I separate that out from online learning while we're talking about definitions. But we, you know, I've been hearing different things as to what would help increase student access and scope and scale of some of the really innovative and fabulous projects that are, or initiatives and programs that are currently underway. One of the main concerns, barriers, I don't know quite what to call it, is the issue of teacher of record. So that is something that I have been hearing is a big concern. So I wanted to throw that out there and see if that is a major concern, if there are other major concerns such as, I mean, I know we could really spiral, and Dale's going to want to reel me back, but if we're talking about different topics here, you know, people throw out seat time and the lack of a 12-month COSER for our districts that work with BOCES. But it seems to be that teacher of record is the issue that comes up the most. Any thoughts on that?
Specifically for online learning, yeah.
Shannon, this is Sarah.
Sarah.
I have so much to say, but Dale, I will limit it. I really think, so I think the teacher of record, I was part of when that legislation or regulation was created as the president of the Distance Learning Consortium, and I don't want to lose the spirit in which that was done. While it was a surprise to everybody and it was stuck in at the last minute in the regulation, it's there for quality control. So I don't want anyone to lose that message, because what can happen when no one's responsible, then the quality is degraded. So I want to remind everyone of the spirit of while that was done. While it makes it impossible and it makes it expensive to implement, and I know all of the issues around it, if you're going to take teacher of record out, you have to have quality indicators somewhere, and we don't have that. So I would suggest somewhere, if you're going to look at digital literacy standards and you want to isolate online learning, then you've got to have quality indicators to go with it, both for teacher evaluation and for student performance. So that's what I have to say about that.
And Rich, you wanted to say something?
It's definitely a concern. APPR is the one question that I get, having in both districts, concerned about. And the other concern that comes from it is, well, if you're doing distance learning, online learning, you're taking jobs away from the teacher in-house. And we were able to overcome that even in my previous small district by showing that you can actually increase opportunities for teachers to partner with the schools and electives and rigorous course sequences and stuff like that. So it definitely is something that always comes up, and I think it's out of a certain playbook that question does come up. But allowing that flexibility, I know seat time will probably never go away, but moving more to a competency-based kind of standard piece, and those kind of things would alleviate some of that, I think.
Anyone else on anything that you think should be a priority in the coming school year? Other topics?
So can I just talk about priority for a second? This is Sarah again. I think that I think we should work on the definitions. I think that's right. I think between increasing the usability by state ed and the districts with the survey, identifying because personalized learning is in ESA and everything else I've read, the US NY 210 tech plan, I think we should define personalized learning. I mean, if we were going to take on anything else, because what's going to happen is there'll be a bucket of instructional strategies under that, and online learning will be just a subset of personalized learning. So I think if we define it, some of these other pieces might fall into place.
There's probably some other terms we could define too while we're looking at definitions, to have some standardized definitions.
Shannon, I just have a question. Is it anywhere on the roadmap to update the USNY 210? It's 7 years old. Do you know if that's on anybody's radar? Is that does that fall under your domain?
It does.
Okay. Sorry.
No, you're
Sorry.
You're right. It is almost 7 years old. One of the for those of you who don't know that we have a statewide tech plan, we do. I remember when the initiative came out of state ed, when I was working at the BOCES level, and all of the statewide forums and all of the work that went into it. And now in the role that I am now, knowing all the work that went into it and approved by the Board of Regents and specific expectations, and we were going to have standards out and we were going to do a lot of things, and then there was race to the top. And so we do have a Board of Regents approved statewide technology plan that does have a lot of very strong language and expectations of the Board of Regents that we provide these opportunities for students and for our teachers and for all of our stakeholders. And so one of the things that we have been making sure to do when we talk to senior leadership and when we have the opportunity to address our regents and our Regents Advisory Council is to make sure that they are aware that these things are in the technology plan that we currently have, and if and when they realize that these expectations are out there, then they may be alerted to the fact that it may be due for a refresh. But as of right now, there is no directive to engage in that work. So we can work with what we have at this point, and
there are some suggestions in the chat.
Oh, good.
That, yeah, tech literacy goal lends itself to the digital citizenship umbrella, critical for our students. Schools are focusing on coding and technical skills and ignoring some of the other soft skills that are emergent and highly relevant. And that's from Melissa Moore.
That's great. And I think that we would agree with that, and that may be part of the thinking in holding off on really going forward with just specific tech literacy until a larger vision of the other components can be thought out. So I I wouldn't want there to be 3 separate initiatives that end up, not that there are initiatives on either front, but there's a lot of, we hear a lot of requests from the field. So if it were to come about that, you know, somebody would work on this and somebody would work on this in isolation, we don't know that that would be the best guidance to give our schools, is things that were not developed in conjunction with one another. So that's what we're hoping to accomplish.
This is Bonnie Russell from New York State PTA. Hi, I believe the last time we met that one of the priorities listed had to do with Engage New York. Is that correct?
Engage New York is you know, our website that started out under Race to the Top and has is in a, you know, we released a new update, and we are in discussions to transition that to our new standards. But right now, Engage New York does fall under our office, yes.
Okay, I just wanted to say that I like that that's a priority from a parent perspective, so that we can really look at how everything else that this committee is doing is going to be able to be shared in a way in which parents can understand what's happening. I think that's a big piece. You know, from a technological and curricular, we do a lot, but then parents don't necessarily understand it. I think that Engage New York might be that piece, if we utilize it correctly, that can help us with that.
Thank you for that. That is actually very helpful. And
do you find that parents are really using Engage New York?
Some of them were, but then at least with the older version, they did not feel like it gave them what they needed. So we had received a lot of feedback. We had shared some of that with the commissioner over the past year. So that's why I'm really looking forward to seeing the new one, and then perhaps New York State PTA helping to find out from parents if this is what they're looking for, so that they will feel they can go to it more often. Because they need to know that they're getting the answers there. And for a while, the feedback we were getting is that they weren't necessarily finding or easily finding what they needed to know.
Okay.
And we are hoping to do that, you know, address that concern with our own website, the EdTech Office's redesigned website, to make it more user-friendly for parents and families. So
that sounds good. That sounds really good, too. Thank you.
Thanks, Bonnie.
Anybody else?
Hey, Shannon, I just wanted to piggyback on something Sarah said earlier about definitions.
Sure.
You know, I know we mentioned earlier in the conversation today about identifying schools that are kind of knocking it out of the park, you know, so we can kind of hold them up as standard bearers, for lack of a better phrase. But I think, you know, what does that mean? What does it mean for a school to be doing technology really well? And so I think identifying what that actually is and defining that would be, it just goes along with what Sarah said earlier about definitions. You know, I know in our region we've invested in the Bright Bites survey. Not that there's, you know, that's only one way of doing it, but that is research-based, and but it at least allows us to utilize the same baseline for determining how well schools are doing in implementing technology. So that falls in that category of definitions.
Thanks. I think there's a lot of terms we could, you know, have clear definitions, at least so we have a mutual understanding.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, everybody. And if you have any thoughts, please email us and let us know. We want to hear from you. I know that there are a lot of us on the phone, and it's, you know, some people don't like to speak up on the phone, but we are interested in what you are looking to accomplish. So please let us know. Just before we sign off, because I realize it is 4 o'clock, we wanted to give you the dates for our upcoming meetings. Oops.
There it is.
Okay. Did I miss a slide?
I think there's.
Oh, yes. So we are not going to meet as a whole group in August. We'll give everybody a month off, except for the tech planning subcommittee, and that's or the tech planning subcommittee on August 3rd and 15th, just because we need to get that, that guidance out in September. So those of you who are biting the bullet and helping us to work on that, we appreciate it very much. But the rest of the whole group, we will meet again in September, and then these are the dates. We'll make sure to get these out to you, but we want to meet towards the end of the month. So we tried to keep it consistent. These are all Tuesdays except for November. We are going to, Amy, I'm just shamelessly asking for a room at Nicegate. So those of us who will be at Nicegate could meet in person. Otherwise, we'll set up a time. And we tried to work around the major holiday breaks and things like that. So again, we'll get this out to everybody, and hopefully this works for calendars, get them on the calendars early for this year. And that is all that we had. So if last thoughts, any questions?
All right.
Thank you all so much.
You.
We will be in touch very soon.
Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of the summer.